So my name is Mitchell Davis, he, him pronouns. I am the hall director for East Campus, and this is my second year as a hall director at UConn. So a typical day for me. So at UConn, we have an awesome opportunity that we can kind of choose which hours we want to work. So we can either start at 8:39 or 10. What a typical day is, I usually come in, I do about 30 to 45 minutes of admin time before I start having one-on-ones, and these one-on-ones are usually with different RAs. They could be with some of my executive board members from my hall council that I advise. And other days, some days I'll have a one-on-one with my supervisor, which we have weekly, and then I'll have some sort of department meeting, which is usually an hour and a half to 2 hours. As a hall director, I am supervised by my assistant director, and we have one-on-one meetings every week where we kind of just chat about what's happening with the area. But she's also there to help me kind of go through different conduct issues I might be having, because in the hall director role, we do kind of manage the conduct for our specific areas. I might also talk about some the successes that our area is having. So if my RAs have done something really awesome, I'm going to talk to her about that. And other good thing that we do at UConn is that we're part of different committees, and we kind of have like supervisors in those committees. So I'm in the leadership committee, which is in charge of Residence Halls Association, National Residence Hall Honorary, and Hall Councils. And my supervisor in that one, it kind of serves the same role, but kind of different, because we kind of more collaborate in those roles to work on projects, and we do more touch bases with one another. So with the RLM, it's a really great way. I really like to talk to my staff members, as it's kind of our guiding way of how we interact with residents and how they kind of do their role and how to best be successful in their residence. And I have students that are first-time college students all the way to their last year. I really make sure my residents are meeting their students where they're at. And one of the things that we like to do is we do have like resident connections, also known as Husky Chats. And those are super important because it gets to tell me how my residents are. I think that's a great way for us to do some like programming. And that's kind of where I partner with my RAs, and they might do a program where they do like some icebreakers, or they might take them to the involvement fair, which UConn does twice a year. They're always gonna have a bulletin boards that happen once a month that kind of talk about what's gonna happen in different areas and focus areas around campus, around life. And then the RLM is also a great way for us to have like diversity, equity, inclusion, belongingness conversations. And we do those on a very regular basis. We do them during staff meetings. And we also encourage them to do it with the floor. And most importantly, the residential learning model is a really great way to provide resources for our residents. So at UConn in the Department of Residential Life, like I think DEIB is super important in the work. Not only do we do it with our staff, but we also do it with our professional staff. So during my first year, we had a book club where we read a DEI related topic in books. We have so many learning opportunities outside of our job that we're able to do, which is absolutely part of our job and part of working at the institution, that we're able to learn about more DEIB topics, really empower our students to help educate others. So what is duty like at UConn? So I'm so glad you actually asked that question, because I'm on duty right now. I'm on duty for duty area A. So that's kind of an interesting thing that UConn does that I think a lot of large institutions such as UConn may or may not do. So we divide our areas up into 3 different areas. So you won't be on call for the whole campus. You're gonna be on call for a third of campus. And you're always gonna have an AD on call, which is always super supportive, just so you can get guidance and support. We're not on call for the whole week. We're on call. We have different shifts that we're on call. So you're either on call for 2 days at a time or 3 days at a time, just kind of depending on what the week is. So you can get calls from RAs just making sure, hey, are we doing this right? To all the way saying, hey, there's some facility issues that we need to go check in on. Can you go check? And like, we work with our campus partners, which is really great. We're making sure we're helping our RAs recognize that they're not necessarily like, they may not necessarily be the knower of everything, and that is okay, but we want to make sure our students are getting the most support possible. So life at stores is a very happening time, a very happening place. So when I was doing the job search process at UConn and just all around, I really want to be able to be in a place that was very like close to big cities. And UConn is in a really unique spot in the country where we're kind of in between Boston and New York. Connecticut as a whole has a lot of great small cities that you're able to explore, but I think probably the best thing that I considered as a hall director, as a new professional graduating from grad school, is really getting involved with the community and stores in Mansfield right off the bat. We volunteer at various places, so I volunteer with the Special Olympics. I also One of the places I volunteer at is a local dog rescue that me and actually some other hall directors have adopted our dogs from, which is so great because we do have a great pet policy here where you are allowed to have an animal in your apartment. Just get comfortable with being able to go do stuff by yourself and meeting other people outside of the store's community. So the thing that I really love about UConn is I can genuinely say that we do have a large department, but you're going to have the chance to get to know and meet every single person, and they do become your support system. And I think something else that I really appreciate about UConn is that we really care about our, the department really cares about our well-being, which is so important because I think being a hall director is an amazing opportunity, but we need to be able to take care of ourselves, and our department wants us to take care of ourselves so we can be the best professionals that we're able to be, but also progress in our career, which we have plenty of opportunities to do at UConn. The best advice I have for a new hall director coming to UConn, so I came out to UConn straight out of grad school, which was an amazing opportunity, and I think the best thing that I did was get close with my cohort of HDs coming in. Another thing that is super important, and I want to give a shout out to my mentor, we have a mentor-mentee program here, and I think that is so important to really get into that mentorship and kind of have that connection at UConn because they are there to be your support. They're there to answer your questions. I think the other biggest advice I have is come in as a sponge. Just always absorb all the information that you're going to have because you're going to learn something new about the institution every day. I'm still learning stuff about the institution every day that's just there to be there for student success. Thank you all for coming with me through my day in a life. I really appreciate sharing my experience, and I hope to see y'all at UConn soon.